one of the other things I was going to tackle was The Little Mermaid is almost upon us, gentlemen. And I'm assuming
Woohoo.
you're all as excited as we are because this is going to be the next great Disney live-action adaptation of an existing story that they've already done, like, much better
It
probably
feels like
in the past.
it feels like Peter Pan and Wendy was like an appetizer, and that this is the main course for this year, I guess.
This is the what, like Peter Pan and Wendy, like they can kind of almost sweep that under the rug because it was released onto Disney Plus, and like they don't
Yeah.
have to answer for like box office revenue or anything like that. But with this one, it's unavoidable. So we're gonna know whether this was a success or not. And so I was kind of curious to see what the box office tracking was like for this, and it's an interesting one because they seem to be asking the question. Nobody seems to know really how well or badly this is going to do. They're kind of comparing it to Aladdin, which I guess was the last or the most recent live action adaptation. But I'll read this little article that came from Cinema Blend. They're saying the Disney live action renaissance is set to continue this month with the long awaited release of The Little Mermaid. I don't know if it's a renaissance. I probably wouldn't refer to it as that. But if the recent box office predictions are any indication, Halle Bailey's Ariel is about to make a huge splash among audiences excited to see Under the Sea imagined 30 years later. Now the question is it going to stack up against other remakes from Walt Disney, namely 2019's Aladdin, which came out during the same holiday weekend in May? So I think what they're predicting is 110 million domestically in the first weekend.
Right.
How much did they pay for that film? Anybody know here? Off the top of their head?
To make it,
Yeah,
good question. Hold
Wonder
I'm
on.
not sure the
I-
budget
I-
on these things.
'Cause
Unfortunately,
it doesn't come in. It doesn't usually come out until later. But
well,
I'll
yeah,
see
you
if it
can get.
says
They
it.
usually will tell you what at least how much they spent, but marketing is the one that we generally have to guess.
It's
You're probably
heavy on
compared against-
CGI, so
Yeah, that's what I
would
would think. That's why I'm like, it had to be like maybe a $200 million film, huh?
I would think so. Yeah, considering like blending live action with CGI. There's no. I don't think there's any particularly big stars in it, so the salaries
Well,
aren't
yeah,
going to be
that's
huge.
true.
But
That's true. Yeah.
also
that may-
going from Aladdin, that the budget for that was apparently 183 million. So,
Oh,
probably
there,
safe
there,
to
then
assume.
it has to be more than that, then, right?
You'd
I'd
think.
say it's pretty comparable. Yeah.
But
yeah,
to be
I would
fair,
say-
that movie made over $1 billion. So
This is the thing, like as much as we shit on these live action adaptations, right? They make money. That's
They
the
do.
problem.
why
Like
they keep
Beauty and the
making
Beast made money. Aladdin made money. Like I don't know about the Lion King. I think that made quite a lot of money, but
that made the most, didn't they? That broke records.
did it?
Yeah,
Jesus.
as far as I'm aware, that's the highest grossing animated movie of all time, quote unquote, fucking whatever. I don't even like it's a nightmare, that film, and it doesn't deserve the box office result it got, but it did indeed. And I'm pretty sure that film is why they're like fast tracking a shit ton of them. They're going to
Yeah.
be doing a Lion King 2, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, what's that going to even be about?" It's like, doesn't matter what it's about. Just make a Lion King 2.
Oh, people are saying 1.6
Holy
billion.
fuck, dude! The
Jesus.
budget for the budget for the Lion King
Jesus.
live action, quote unquote, was 260 million.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's hefty budget, but like that's
that's
a good return
a
on
lot
it.
of. I mean, yeah, but with that budget, you got to make 800 million minimum. Obviously, they made double that. It sounds like,
Yeah.
to even break to break even and start making money. So yeah, that'll be interesting. How much this? Yeah, I don't know, man. Who is going to see this shit? Like,
Well,
This is an interesting one because unlike the previous animated remakes that were done in live action, like Aladdin, the Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, this seems to have more of a backlash against it because I'm pretty sure the trailers are getting ratioed, and
you know what it should be compared to is Cruella and Mulan.
but those
That's
for sure didn't
easy.
do well though. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It should be
Mulan-
categorized similarly to them, I think.
yeah, I think those were of that bunch. Those did the worst for sure.
So
I'm
it
gonna,
could
I'm
end
gonna,
up with several results, right? Like, will it be more of an Aladdin or will it be more of a
Right.
Cruella?
Right, that makes sense.
I'm gonna take a look at the trailer. I just see what the ratio is like on it. So official trailer from a month ago, right? All right, so it's
Did
not coming
Cruella
up.
release on theaters and streaming? It did, right? Or was it just streaming?
It was theaters and streaming because it came out in the midst of the pandemic, I think. So to some extent you can't measure that against normal
Yeah.
box office like
Yeah.
ratios because it was a bit of a weird situation it was in. It didn't help that it was a shit movie, and I don't know who it was meant to appeal to. You know,
Really
It's like-
shit movie.
our main character wants to skin puppies and turn them into handbags. Like, yeah, that's definitely the kind of person I aspire to. Awesome,
So
nice
endearing.
one, Disney. But yeah, with Little Mermaid, it just feels like that's created more controversy and more backlash than any of their previous movies, and I don't know how much of that is going to filter through to just general audiences, and how much of it is just contained within, the online space. So it might be that normal people just aren't even aware of it; they're just going to go see it. It's coming out at kind of a slow spell, I think, in the summer box office season, because by that point Guardians 3 will have faded out, and there's not really anything big, I don't think, to challenge it. So
That's
seems
a good
like
point. So it's set up for success in that aspect. I always wonder with these types of movies, like, again, who the fuck is seeing them, but more importantly, like what that setup is, because I'd imagine like probably because of this idea that it's catering to young people, maybe there's like fucking school field trips and like all sorts of bullshit and buying out theaters to have someone see it. Because I don't. Granted, yeah, I'm not. Well, technically, because I'm black, I am the target demographic because I can see myself now. So, with that being said, it does seem like there's no enthusiasm like there is for general movies that are going to do well going into the summer. So this is difficult to gauge for sure.
I do like that though, like the representation. It's like, you too, Eric, can see yourself as an undersea sea creature.
Yeah, which reminds me of like Grace's. I saw that for the first time yesterday. Grace Randolph's take about the whole interracial. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see
She
it.
has
Oh
so
my
many amazing
God.
takes, it's hard to keep up.
Oh my god! So essentially, she said that basically this was, give or take, not putting it in exact words, almost a metaphor for interracial marriage, interracial relationships, because of the fact that she was like, she's like half fish, I guess, essentially, and Eric is not. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, the way she worded it made it seem like, oh, what he's trying to say, like we're like subhuman, or what the fuck? Where was she going with that? It was weird, man.
You can always rely on Grace Randolph for a good solid take, that everyone can get behind.
Weird, dude.
Yeah, it was like I think the highlight was like watching her try to make sense of the Mario Brothers movie and just like not fucking understanding a single thing she was seeing. It was great.
Yeah.
It was like showing it to my gran or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the coverage of it has been interesting, right? Because it's not just, we're not just like race swapping the characters and stuff. Like they're changing the tone of the movie, because it's all about changing Ariel's journey as a character. Because before, the thing that made her want to really like give up her life under the sea and like move up to the surface and experience life up there was the love of another person. Like she fell in love with Prince Eric, or Eric, the human. But now that's unacceptable, because that sends the wrong message to modern audiences. Yeah, it's problematic. So now it's going to be all about her. And it's interesting because there's a quote here from Halle Bailey, who's playing her, saying, I'm really excited for my version of the film because we've definitely changed that perspective of her just wanting to leave the ocean for a boy. It's way bigger than that. It's about herself, her purpose, her freedom, her life, and what she wants. Great. Yeah, I can't wait to see a movie.
When she says something like that, you just want to be there as an interviewer and be like, do you think there's something very, lame and limited about love? And she'll be like, no, that's not what I mean. You're like, okay, so you didn't need to denigrate it so hard there. That's okay.
I guess I would ask her, or I would ask the writers, like, do you see it as a bit of a problem that the main character of your movie is literally just only interested in herself? Like everything she does is just about making her happy. It's like what she wants. There's no like higher purpose to any of it, because she talks about, it's a really interesting way she phrases it. She's saying, right, wanting to leave the ocean for someone else, it's way bigger than that. It's about me. But it's like, surely that's the smallest thing possible. Like when you distill your whole view of the world down to just yourself, that's as small as it can possibly get. And when you say I'm literally just living, everything I do is just for me. All my decisions are based around what's best for me. That's the smallest view you can take of the world. But it's framed as this grand thing to aspire to. It's brilliant that she's just all about herself. No, it's not. That doesn't make for a good character. That doesn't make for a hero.
Can I jump in and just I'd like to dispel this stupid idea that you need to see yourself in things. I think that's a terrible idea that somehow spread, and now that's like, when you talk to someone and you realize they have no original ideas of their own, and they go to default settings, which is a recording of something
Or
that
NPCs.
yeah. They just parrot whatever that is, and you're like, oh, I'm not even talking to a person. I'm talking to a hollow shell that's repeating bad ideas. So that whole idea I've always thought is a bad idea, because the entire purpose of all fiction, comic book, video game, a novel, movie, is to see and be able to identify with someone who isn't you.
Yes.
That is the point, is to see the world through someone else's eyes and to learn what empathy is. So I can, I can watch the movie Alien and I identify with Ellen Ripley, mainly because she's the smartest one. She didn't want to let Kane into the Nostromo because she knew that was protocol. Captain Dallas overrode that, or no, it was Ash.
It was Ash, yeah.
Ash, yeah. So who was I on board with on that journey? Her. I'm a dude, okay? So and you could go through a ton of other fiction, whether it's a cartoon animal or whatever. Like what that teaches you is empathy for someone who isn't you. The idea that it's like someone needs to look exactly like me. I don't want to see a movie where the character looks like me. It's the point of fiction is to, one of the points is to be able to detach and empathize with someone who isn't you. So that this has become a popular concept, I happen to think is one of the stupidest ideas. And when I see people parrot that, where are the people? I assume that everyone on this panel and those in the chat, hail to the chat, understand this concept of fiction being a way to experience the world through the eyes of someone else. Why is that not more popular? Because I think there's more of a benefit in our human experience to having that capability, rather than narcissistically looking and like, this would be great if it was just cast with a light-skinned black woman. Let's just do that for everything, which is it's to me, it's just become the default setting that is it's just boring. It's just boring.
Well, it's like
say,
because they limit relatability to stuff like that. So, these are supposed to be, the least interesting things about you, stuff like race
Right.
and all of that. You didn't have any control over that. It's not anything you like earned or anything. You kind of just came out that way. And these people, I think a lot of folks that create, and I use that term loosely because it is dog shit, but these people are boring themselves, which is why you have so many people hyper emphasizing things such as race, sexuality, and all these other things. People brag about it. They even now got their little disabilities or shortcomings, or they'll put it in their bio and stuff like that, because these are things that they're boring and they don't have much to them. But to the average person, there's going to be some level of relatability to various different characters, because we all have different life experiences. So I always go back to like the comic book stuff, because for me, like my favorite character growing up was Flash, and Wally was the Flash when I happened to be growing up. But I was an athlete, right? I was particularly a sprinter. So that was what. Hey, it's this guy whose one power is just to run really fast. I thought that was generally as kids, you think that type of stuff is cool, but that was my level of relatability. But I'm not necessarily the makeup of Wally. Well, once they race swapped in the New 52, I guess then I was, but before then I wasn't. But with like now, Batman, for example, being my favorite character as an adult, there's levels of relatability that you can have with various characters, and find a concept that you relate with that it should be outside of the line of like race or sexuality and stuff like that. But these people are boring. These people are losers. And of course they are activists. So that's why they have to think, well, and they're also narcissistic to Chris's point, which is why they hijack stuff all the time. And they say, hey, this thing that you guys like, we're going to take it and now I'm going to make it about me. Right. And or about this person needs to look like myself because look at all the little girls that'll finally feel like they're represented, because they expect that the audience, which is the unfortunate part of it, that the audience is just as shallow as they are. Right. And, I hate that's it certainly come to that. Like, what message certainly are you sending to young people? I hate when they go like, oh, look at this role model, this and role model that people can finally see success because there's now some half black or light skinned black woman that's now Little Mermaid. And I'm like, do these people not have mothers? Do these people not have grandmothers? Like, of all the people to look at and be like, oh, I'm inspired to see success as some fish chick in a live action movie. That says that we got a lot of fucking problems if that's the case. But they're boring people. That's what it ultimately boils down to. They're boring, narcissistic at the same time, but these are very shallow people. And when you talk with them, you get to pick up on that. They don't really have anything interesting about them, which is why they try to hide behind that shield of like race and sexuality and other stuff like that.